Hello, Acosta Consulting. Welcome to the 24-hour preliminary round of CoMIS 2023. My name is Kenny, and for today, you will have 25 minutes in total, 15 minutes of protected presentation time and 10 minutes of Q&A. During the protected presentation time, judges are not permitted to interject and ask questions. If you finish your presentation before 15 minutes, you will still only have 10 minutes for the Q&A. There will be a hard cutoff at 15 minutes, and we will be giving you a time warning when 3 minutes, 1 minute, and 30 seconds are left via paper. And your time starts now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Sylvia Heindel, and I'm the market lead for the Acosta Consulting Group. And today we're going to be discussing Life Floor's big idea. I'm joined here today by my teammates Allison and Derek, and I'd like to introduce you to Suzanne. Some of you might know Suzanne as a coworker, a manager, or a friend. But what you may not know is she spends hours and hours every day manually entering data from Excel into NetSuite. And this is time that she could better be used doing value-added things for the company. So what technologies and tools can be integrated so that LifeFloor can have more easily added data and really streamline the whole work process? This is through two different things. The first is immediate impact process automation technology. This is through both Workato and Cloud Extend. This deals with integration and data transfer. On the second half, we have Salesforce and accounting software, which helps with automation. Within this, there'll be a 26% ROI in year one, $100,000 net increase in income by year 3, and over 10 new customers this year. Let's take a look at where you guys are now. Right now, there is a lot of manual data entry, manual counting, and gaps in the process that can be better integrated into one another. So streamlining this process will make it so that you can have faster products to your customer, ultimately increasing sales. Let's go over how all of these integrate within one another. Salesforce and automated account software, Workato, and Cloud Extend all have to do with LifeFloor's big idea: integration, automation, expansion, and data transfer. I know there's a lot of information on this slide, so let's just go over the highlights. Our first technology to integrate is Cloud Extend, and this is one of the best software platforms on the market. This actually offers the option to schedule data reports, and this data is secure by Cloud Extend. Additionally, it actually automates the exports so that Suzanne does not have to go from Excel to NetSuite all day, every day, and her time can be better spent elsewhere. There's a few companies that have actually been using this, and they're saving over 10,000 hours each year. This is incredible because that puts time and money back in your pockets. You mentioned that there's $10,000 annually that's wasted through, or that's lost through manual data entry errors. So let's put this money back in your pocket by streamlining this process.
So let me kind of just address one of the issues that you guys identified, and that's being the manual data entry from the Excel document to NetSuite. And that affects Suzanne, that affects everyone in your company, including your customers and your delivery time there. Something else that you identified as a problem is a lack of communication integration between Slack, your communication tool, and NetSuite. With that, that is causing hundreds of open Slack channels where you're communicating through Slack about each of those problems, as well as a backlog that ends up building up with all of that in design and slowing down that process. We propose that you use a third-party access integration tool, that being Workato, to combine NetSuite and Slack. By using this, you'll be able to streamline your communications and your data transfer between apps and information, technologies and information. Additionally, Work Auto provides the opportunity for expansion through that third-party access in additional partnerships with companies or with technologies that can help you expand and grow, such as Salesforce, for example. To elaborate a little bit on that, we kind of are referencing Salesforce specifically in access to Work Auto. Currently use NetSuite as a CRM and Slack for a communication tool. If you wanted to expand, grow a little bit, Salesforce is just one example of a powerful tool you could use with Work Auto to continue expansion and growing through that. You also identified an issue with your design and transferring counts and the information from that into being able to quote a price. And with that, we go through the market and we're not able to find an existing technology that's tailored exactly to your needs regarding that, regarding colors and the tiles. So we've come up with a couple options for you here. The first option would be to continue watching the market and see if a software technology tool comes up that tailors to those needs. The second option would be to mix AutoCAD, which you already use, and manual count. AutoCAD has features where you can do an auto count of the tiles, but then that can identify areas where you need custom cuts. So then you can manually have someone go in and just identify those areas. That allows you to have the flexibility of different custom cuts, what that's defined as, and adapt to that. And finally, an option that's more expensive would be to contract a custom software program. And that would allow you to tailor exactly what you want to that design process. It would be more expensive, but that's something you can definitely consider in the future. With all of this, let's look at the why. We are working for Suzanne, and Suzanne's working for your customers. With this, Suzanne's been wasting time on manual data entry. She's been wasting time with design changes, having to create new NetSuite profiles for every design change. And she's been struggling with the communication channels. With all this, with our proposal, we will present an option to automate the data entry and save her time on both the manual data entry and design change entries. And finally, we'll streamline that communication so that she's able to communicate better with her team, with customers, and with everything that she needs in that regard. So, but how is this going to be done? Your team, obviously, one of the biggest issues with implementing new software is just adapting to it, getting ready for it, and then learning how to use it best. Salesforce offers many trainings, whether that be online, in person, or in other mediums, so that your team can be ready and prepared to use that. Additionally, Work Auto and Extend offer free training platforms to be able to adapt to that quickly. And with all this in mind, we identified companies that had strong ease of adoption, because that is going to be one of your first benchmarks in moving forward in this process. So let's look at the implementation timeline. First, we present right away that you implement Work Auto and Cloud Extend. With this, you'll be training employees and adapting, getting ready, using the technology, and then figuring out how to implement that within your company. And then looking forward from years 1 through 5, you will have a lot of extra time to redistribute. That extra time can be put towards extra trainings, recruiting, doing more recruiting, finding more customers, and just kind of extending, building your process and streamlining that. Additionally, you'll be able to consider other options for integration. We propose Salesforce. You have many other options there if that's something you would like to pursue. Additionally, you can also investigate the options that we presented about the coding or the counting features with your design. And finally, overall, this time you should be evaluating the tool effectiveness, how it works in your company, and whether that's something that's a path you want to continue on or how you would like to pivot.
So now we will show you the new process map with this idea generation. So on the top, you can see Work Auto would help to streamline both Slack and for the shared services team. The shared services team used to be by the Excel documents. That is where they would enter all their manual data entry, have many different things enter, and then that would go into NetSuite. But now this would be able to be automated through Work Auto. They could put that in and go directly into NetSuite, reducing some of their manual data entry. Cloud Extend, as I mentioned, was the second key part of this new process. Rather than going from the design team to shared services and then up into NetSuite, again, shared services was moved above, reducing some of that manual data entry. So this new process would help to reduce manual data entry, give better data accuracy as there would be less data entry, and also help to push forward a quicker turnaround to your customers. The idea strategy will also provide many key financial outputs for LifeFleur. So one key statistic looked at was the closing rate. LifeFleur already has a very strong closing rate at 85%, but it was found that if this is increased by just 1%, LifeFleur can actually have a $50,000 increase in revenue. So if you exponentially increase this, that is a very easy way to gain more customers and gain more revenue. Along with that, we did do a good amount of research into this closing rate and how important it is for a business. So it was found that for businesses that have slow response times to their customers, there's a 15% higher churn rate, which is something that LifeFleur would not want to have. But on the other hand, for B2B customers who were responding too quickly, had the first vendor contact them, that is where 78% of purchases come from, is from the first vendor to contact them. So this automated and streamlined process would really put LifeFleur ahead of their competitors. A few KPIs were also generated throughout this project. First, as LifeFleur identified, they wanted a quick return. So this would have a 26% ROI in just year one, and also have an under 2-year payback period. And more of a long-term look, this could generate over $1.5 million in extra revenue for LifeFleur, and also we would be keeping their values in mind. The idea process also allows for continued strong growth with customers, and also more scalability into the future, as these are some large and scalable technologies we are proposing. So again, looking at the closing rate, we looked at a 1% increased closing rate, 3% and 5%. And if if LifeFleur was able to get to a 5% increased closing rate, they could see over 100 customers more within just 5 years, which is a huge exponential growth for LifeFleur, and is something that could really help to boost their company. On the right here, you can see that, again, revenue increases with scalability. We looked more at just a 1.5% increase in closing rate, which we thought was very reasonable. And that would actually produce in just 5 years over $500,000 in extra revenue for LifeFleur. Throughout this process, there were a few key risks identified, which we would like to address. The first risk is that with all these new technologies, employees could get overwhelmed with all the training and new things that they would have to learn. A second risk is that the count software, again, we recommended a few different potential solutions, but this might not be able to go to market quick enough, is a concern that could be had. And lastly is that there will be more programs, and it could be a concern that these will lead to an even longer wait time for customers. So although I did just discuss a few risks, there also are mitigations for these risks. For employees feeling kind of overwhelmed by learning all of these technologies, we adapted in, as you can see in our timeline, a quite long training process. And we also looked at softwares that did provide that training and personal training. So we believe that combining this with also limiting the numbers of users who have to learn this technology will help to alleviate some of that concern that employees could be overwhelmed. As far as the count software, we again recommend always conducting market research. The technology world is vastly improving. So really looking into this, and also just always having that plan in back of mind to potentially create a custom software if needed. And as far as the more programs we are presenting could lead to an even longer wait time, this should not be as much of a concern because, again, they all integrate together. We even proposed Salesforce, which could come on top and integrate with them as well. So all these technologies would really work together, reduce that manual data input, and also increase accuracy. And again, Suzanne, she is a very important member of the shared services team, but right now, a lot of her time is spent doing manual data entry. With our idea process, she will have much more time to really showcase how great her skills are and what she can bring to the LifeFleur team. So through our two key strategies, there will be a great both financial benefit and also just a company-wide benefit for LifeFleur. The first strategy is, again, just enabling a faster project conversion through reduction of these manual processes. And again, this would be done through the integrations made possible through Workato and also through Cloud Extend, allowing that quick data transfer automatically from Excel up into the already existing NetSuite platform. On more of the longer term outlook, LifeFleur is a quickly growing company, so we want to look into technologies that are scalable and could really help that growth to continue to happen. So with Salesforce, this is what could eventually become more of the project management technology for Lifecore. And would easily still integrate into that NetSuite platform. And also the accounting software, again, we recommend multiple different solutions, which could provide great benefit to Lifecore. These key strategies also lead to a few key financial outputs. Again, a less than 2-year payback period, which is what Lifecore wanted. A potential of over $150,000 in net income increase by just year 5, and also continuing that strong customer growth. So our idea process really helps to identify what tools and technology Lifecore can use to keep bursting forward and growing into the future. Thank you all for your time, and we now open forward to questions.
Judges, you have 10 minutes to ask questions starting now.
I'm confused. So did I hear correctly that you're proposing 2 pieces of software for integration, and I'm going to get benefits, and then I get to choose what I want to do after that? So you're really only presenting to me at first to get 2 pieces of software and implement. Did I hear that right or not?
Yeah, I think that kind of follows that we're presenting Work Auto as an integration tool. And then the Cloud Extend is specifically for manual data entry from Excel to NetSuite.
Right.
So the Work Auto then enables you to integrate with other things.
Right.
That was where the Salesforce proposal came in. And then, yes, the final count was the data, the switch between.
So the benefits you project for us is on just putting those 2 in, or having the other part, putting Salesforce and accounting software and everything, which you said we get to assess later after we did the first part. So am I understanding the proposal correctly?
Yes, like at least within the financials, currently we are just looking at just the Work Auto and Cloud Extend. Then actually later on in the financials, we could discuss or show you. We did show an opportunity where you would implement that like customized accounting software, which was looking into is very pricey. But again, we just could not find with Lifecore's current needs, cannot find a specific technology that would work for them. So that is why with accounting software, at least we have just looked into a custom solution, which again is described in the future within our financial model. But as of now, it's just those 2 technologies.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, of course.
On that note, can you walk me through the ROI calculation?
Yeah, of course. So here's the ROI. Can you go to the next slide, please? Actually, 2 back. So we looked at quite a few financial inputs. We were given quite a bit from Lifecore in terms of things like their gross margin, what their current closing rate is, approximately how many customers they have, employees. So these are some of the financial inputs. And actually, if you want to slide 1 more slide back, we even had quite a few more financial inputs. This does not look quite as pretty. But I looked into things like how much this training would cost for Salesforce, how much training would cost for Work Auto, projecting out how many users you could do both these on a user basis, which we thought was a really good idea for Lifecore, as they are a smaller company and could continue to scale this if they need more users within these technologies. So again, yes, I looked at technologies, how much it would cost yearly for these technologies to be implemented on a user basis. And that all turned into the slide you saw just a few seconds ago with the overall ROI. This all pulled back into here with those assumptions. It could update with whatever assumptions you had in there. And that is how we were pulling these in. And again, at year 2, you can see the negative return investment. That is where we were projecting out if they were to build that custom software in order to work with account software. So that is where a lot of our financial inputs came from, and all came into this ROI calculation.
So my question is this: there's 360 opportunities in the pipeline right now, right? $18 million in value. Average sale of 50,000 roughly. They do 140 installations a year. That means they've got a backlog of 2 years. I'm surprised that you didn't get a little bit more aggressive, because the bottlenecks seem to be around that manual data and getting data out. Did you look at how quickly they could turn around a project by utilizing these tools? Because they're already growing at 35%, and you're adding $100,000 of revenue with a $7 million company. That's like 1% growth, 1.5% growth. when the opportunity is clearly much larger than that. So I'm curious as to why you were so conservative when, if the streamline is gonna do what you think it's going to do, those 360 opportunities, even at 85% close, could be moved much more quickly forward and double and triple revenue.
So I think what I was going to look at when I did at least financials with that is like you talked about, they do have so many outstanding opportunities right now. And we could, at least from what we found in research, it seemed like the most difficult thing they're having is with that count software, and we cannot find a specific software to address that. So that we thought we didn't want to be too, I guess, too overzealous in assuming that if you just got rid of some of the manual data entry, that it would make everything more streamlined. So that is why for now we've just identified like about a 1.5% higher closing rate, which would in turn and like make that process faster. So I think that is where we were at in terms of not wanting to be too high, but also knowing that there is, like you said, so much potential for growth if this process is speeded up.
Did you look at all at reducing cutting by utilizing colors in manufacturing the base plate?
No, but we'd be happy to get back to you with that information later.
So by adding work auto and cloud extend, we'd still be using Excel. It would just, instead of Suzanne or someone else manually putting the Excel stuff into NetSuite, it would just automatically go in. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, so Workato is integration with NetSuite and Slack. You mentioned that Slack is not able to integrate on any of your channels right now. So this does allow for that option. And then Cloud Extend is Excel to NetSuite. So when you add all of these things together, they all kind of go into one.
Did you, when you did all your stuff on training and things, did you take into account partners? So you constantly refer to employees, but we have a lot of partners. So do you make the same assumptions across the partner base as well?
A lot of the platforms we're looking at, we assume that they'd be more affected on with your team, but you're right, you do have these installer partners, other people that could be affected by that. A lot of the technology seems to interface specifically within the company, but because a lot of those trainings are free, they do have that option. That's something you would like to present to your partners. That's definitely something they can look into as well, and you have the opportunity to do that.
Thank you.
You talked through this process of continuously assessing and revisiting some of these recommendations. What are the key kind of red flags that I'm going to want to look for, or the key confirmation identifiers, key indicators that I've made the right decision as I kind of go through that second part?
The overall measure is opportunity to fit. How many of these orders are you getting in, getting out? You already have, in theory, information, data metrics with your current timing, and you should be able to then track it, analyze it, whether or not those orders are getting out. If they aren't, if the bottleneck is occurring around the technology still, if it's with that manual data entry, then that's something where maybe you look into, okay, we definitely need this kind of software, we need to change here. But just kind of looking specifically at the throughput, looking again at bottlenecks, and especially if you are having, the other addition would be, other metrics to consider would be your user experience. If you have employees that aren't happy with it, to use, that would be something to consider and analyze the metrics specifically, throughput, as well as the user experience, combine that and decide where to go forward.
If you look into user experience with companies our size, did they like it? Did it work well?
Yeah, could you click on Cloud Extend use case 1, number 6, sorry, just go to. Sorry, okay, so yes, here is an example. There was multiple, for at least Cloud Extend, there's multiple great use cases we found. They had, I think, over 20 use cases on their website. So for example, this is SalesLoft. They are another smaller company. And I think we maybe use this quote in our presentation too, but a sales or a senior revenue accountant at Sales Loft actually said that they were able to reduce spending 40 hours a week on their data entry task down to just an hour of their day. So this is an example of a smaller business that was really able to save much time. And also another great use case that we had with Cloud Extend was with Fastening Solutions. So Fastening Solutions was mainly putting in their data as well. And on the bottom, there's a quote here about their customer service. So they were talking about how they had their Cloud Extend products, and they were having great customer service. And like every time that they had a question, they were able to get a quick response. And another great part of Cloud Extend is that when you do that initial implementation, you have like a personal customer service representative that you can contact through an email, which you found, which was a great benefit we thought, having this really personalized like implementation. And something that we looked into and was, I think with all of our companies, there was quite a few use cases we found
Your
with
time is up.
smaller businesses.
Thank you for your presentation. Judges will give their feedback in this room at 10:30 a.m. Please return here at 10:30 a.m. if you would like to receive the feedback on your presentations. At this point, you may exit the room with your liaison. As a reminder, you're not permitted to watch any other preliminary round presentations. Thank you.
Thank you.
You just click your back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.